What's up, everyone? This is Hopeless Gains. My name is Adam. I'm here with Ryan and Mike. We're here to do episode 4, Signs and Symptoms. So, if you haven't seen our Founder series, check them out on YouTube. My video will be posted soon, very soon. So,
2 days.
2 days.
2 days it'll be up.
Nice. So, here we're going to talk about signs and symptoms for each category that we ourselves have personally endured or learned about. So, Ryan, what sign or symptom do you have to talk about?
I got a lot.
Okay.
I know for me, the biggest one that I notice as I start struggling is I withdraw. I get quiet, don't talk to people, just kind of keep to myself, go to work, come home, spend time by myself, don't really interact with fiance or anybody around, just kind of there.
Okay.
Mike?
Well, that's one of mine as well. But for me, a big one, I didn't realize what it was for a long time, is I start to eat a lot of junk food. And I mean a lot of it. Like a whole bag of Doritos in a sitting, and then a carton of ice cream, and then maybe a dozen donuts, and then like legitimate. And that's after having eaten meals all day. And yeah, that's how I try to. I've realized that's one of the ways that a sign that I'm starting to struggle mentally.
Yep, I'm the same as Ryan. I shut down. I get really quiet. Surprise. Um, any of you that don't know me, I'm not very quiet. So when I am quiet, Ryan knows. I help cope with that, trying to listen to music. Music is a good way that expresses, especially like listening to the lyrics and stuff. Certain songs at certain times will help deal with that. So, Ryan, what are one of the ways that you cope?
Gym. The gym's a big one for me. When I notice I'm quiet or struggling, I go to the gym. It's kind of where it's my alone time, anyways. It's just me versus me. I'm not trying to compete with anyone or keep up with anybody. I'm just there to do, as I like to call it, iron therapy. There's a lot to be said about exercise when you're going through these things with the gym or going out for a walk, a hike, any type of physical activity that you enjoy. You'll start getting those endorphins and help you get a clear headset. Mindset, not headset, guys. We're not putting on headphones here. Unless you're listening to music. Another sign that I notice in people is if you normally have somebody that's not necessarily withdrawn, but they're kind of shy or kind of quiet, they're overly friendly. They're more talkative, they're more outgoing, and they do more, they come around more, they, offer to pay for a lot of things and, trying to use up the money, I guess they have before they leave. I know from a personal experience from a friend, he's pretty smart with money, tight. A little while ago, he just started buying everybody everything, taking everybody to lunch, buying energy drinks, all sorts of stuff. And it triggered me as a flag to reach out and start talking to him. I mean, I talk to the kid every day, but obviously something was going on. I started talking to him, and he informed me he was struggling and that he was planning that weekend to disappear and not be around on Monday. But invited him to go to a lake with us and hang out. Let him get around people that cared about him and wanted him out there. And, had I not recognized that that was a sign or symptom, who knows what would have happened.
That's a very good point because if people are struggling, they're not going to go up to some stranger or coworker and be like, "Hey, I'm struggling," then walk away. You got to get it out of. You got to sit down with them one on one. or try to talk to them any way you can.
Especially males, we have that stigma that we're not supposed to talk about the mental health. We're not supposed to reach out. So, you know, if you got a male buddy that's struggling, they're really gonna fight it, and they're not. It's gonna take some time to drag it out. But it's consistency. As you see these signs, as simple, hey man, how's your night? What'd you do? How you doing today? Let's go to lunch. Just little things like that. Just letting them know eventually will wear them down.
And I think another thing is not letting the buddy skate by with the, oh yeah, I'm fine. Once you're aware, when you notice a change in somebody, whether it's somebody who's always been the nice guy and is suddenly abrupt and grumpy and rude to everybody, or any of these other signs we've mentioned, and you reach out to them like Ryan did, and you just say, hey man, what's going on? You okay? And they go, yeah, I'm fine. We all know that that's a lie. As men, we're all taught that that's our response to anything, any problems we're having, and that doesn't make it okay. That just because that's the way it's been, we need to. Part of breaking the stigma is making sure that they know, like, no, dude, look, we're close enough. I can tell something's wrong. I need you to talk to me, man. Like, I'm worried about you. You need to be vulnerable and open up to them in that way, and then that's gonna create that space for them to be vulnerable in front of you. A lot of men still refuse to be vulnerable in front of their spouses and their kids, and then people can argue back and forth whether that's good or bad, but when you can be vulnerable in front of that friend and that allows them to open up to you, and then that ends up saving their life, it's worth it.
Yep. A certain stubborn somebody that's sitting right next to me. It took a lot of us working together. It's Ryan. Shitheads.
Until I pointed at was Ryan.
Right. And Ryan's like, no. It took a lot of us and me and him worked by ourselves. The owner of the company was never around as much as have been, nice as the other owner of the company to kind of know what was going on. But it took a lot of me and Ryan working side by side, messing with each other and everything else to finally open up. And one story that I want to share. So Ryan came to work and he was super stressed. And I could tell he was stressed because he was just like short fuse. He had a short fuse on anything, and just everything was going on. And it would just trigger him. And he was like, and I noticed that, and I was like, dude, I'm like, bro, what's going on? And his phone was about to get shut off. And he was 3 months behind and just struggling and everything else. And I was in a position to help him out. I went and withdrew $400 the next day, and I gave it to him, and he paid me back. But he was in tears, and he's like, dude, I really appreciate that. And he's like, and he gave me a hug, and he was like, I could see the relief. And I'm not suggesting that to do that for anybody, but
no, the only way to get someone to open up is to give them money. This is what Adam's trying to tell you. That's the only way.
Yeah, you just got to give them money. And then you're best friends.
Oh, both of you can go
To hell.
and fist yourselves. But I'm glad I was able to be in that position to help. But I knew that's not, like, he was like, that was never what this was about. I did not ask for. He's like, I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for. He's like, I know, and I said, but I had a way to solve the problem, and I was willing to do it for him because, like, I could just see it on his face. He was just at his end. And we all know financially and mentally, like, they go in hand sometimes.
Not sometimes.
All the time.
Always. At least when you're short on cash.
When you live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You've got 3 or 4 kids relying on you, and a wife or a girlfriend or a fiance or whatever it may be, and that's one of the hardest things is when you've paid all of your bills and you have $20 for food or fuel to get you to your work, and you go without food some days.
Yeah.
Been there.
So yeah, that was the start to our friendship and everything else. Was he realized he could open up to me, and then um, I realized that I could open up to him, and we went on a lot of car rides, listening to music and everything else. A lot of Five Finger Death Punch and whatever new album heavy stuff that came out, we were listening to, and it took several weeks before either one of us like, hey, what's going on, man? What's going, and be like, well, I'm going home. I'm dealing with this, or you know, so like just once someone opens up, be there for them. It's hard with the busy work schedule and kids at home or whatever you got going on. Make time, because when they open up, that's when they're vulnerable. When you finally get to that point and they open up, they're at their weakest mentally, not physically or anything else. Like like that's their weak point, is when they finally open up and don't desert them, because that's when you lose them, or they close down and they never open up to anyone and they never will.
And I would add a note of caution to what Adam's been sharing, speaking from someone who has opened up to a couple of different people. If someone takes the time to be vulnerable and open up to you, they don't want you to fix their problems. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Most of the time. It's different if they finish telling you and then they say, hey, I need some help. I need your advice, or what would you do? But if they don't, all they want is for you to sit there and listen and let them know that they're not alone in this fight of being a man in today's world, of trying to take care of a family or anything that anybody's dealing with, because we all have our different struggles.
Yeah.
But just be there and listen, and it makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes you also have to say some things like Ryan talked about in his video, when you have to, a real friend isn't just going to tell you what you want to hear. You're going to say what they need to hear, like I had to with Ryan.
Yep.
I can't hang out with you. You're going to pull me back down into the darkness. And he was able to turn his life around, partly because of that. And so,
Yeah.
anyways,
Anything else before we start getting to different signs and symptoms of specific ideas?
I mean, kind of to lead right into the signs and symptoms, I know with Mike, knowing him as long as I have, it's not just food, it's a sign. If I've talked to him and it's been 2 days, 3 days without him hitting the gym or any kind of exercise, I know at that point I need to say, hey man, what's going on? What's going on in life? Like, tell me what you're struggling with. And he, most of the time, there's a lot going on. And he just hasn't had the time, or he hasn't had the energy. And, it's hard. When you're mentally defeated, it's hard to make the time. It's hard to go do the things you need to. And, he doesn't reach out all the time because he's busy. And half the time, by the time he thinks about going to the gym, it's 12 o'clock and most gyms are closed. So he just doesn't have a chance. And by seeing those signs and symptoms, or that sign, I should say, that he's not going to the gym, that he's eating more fast food and junk food, like, hey man, let's talk. Hopefully it helps get him remotivated. We've all, with Hopeless Gains, it's not that we're perfect. We are in no way, shape, or form perfect with this. We struggle still day to day with everything we preach and talk about here. We are struggling with currently and still do. Yeah. But we rely on each other. We notice things like that, and we help motivate each other. And when one of us struggles, we help pick that one person up. If two of us are struggling, that other one's got to step in and say, hey guys, what's going on? Let's get back on track. Let's remotivate ourselves, find that drive. I think one of the best sign is anything out of the ordinary from how that person normally acts. We can make a list for 2 hours of all the different signs and all the different symptoms, but I think the biggest way to notice is somebody acting different than how they normally do.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit about what we tried to talk about, Ryan, with you saying, quiet kids getting rambunctious or the nice guy
Yeah.
getting angry. It just anything out of the ordinary for sure is a sign they're struggling. Now it's a lot easier for me to tell with Ryan. A few years ago, he used to just be on edge and short almost all the time in every interaction.
Used to.
Um, it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years
it
through
has.
changes in his personal life, as well as I'd like to say probably through some therapy and journaling and different things, talking, working through things with his friends, being vulnerable. And now I can tell he'll call me, and if he's fired up about something's happened. And usually Ryan's pretty good about when he calls me, he's at that point he's ready to already open up and share. But there's been times still where I can tell he's on one, and I've got to just prompt him a few times. And again, it comes back to that. Hey man, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, okay. Is he really? No, he's not. So then I ask a different question, or just keep asking, or just getting him to talk about. Oh well, okay. You say you're okay. How's your kids? And then eventually, once I get him talking, he'll spill it out, and then he usually, by the end of those phone calls, he's usually a little bit calmer and
Yeah.
seems like he's in a better headspace. So,
Or about to head to the gym.
or just got done at the gym. Yes.
Yeah.
Or all of the above. Yeah.
Yeah.
One we kind of skimmed over was outlets, and obviously we joke with Ryan, but his outlet is the gym, is music, is outdoors, doing something outdoors. Mine, of course, is music. Music has always been a big part of my life, and I love it. So,
And we'll cover outlets in another video and the importance of them, and the importance of having healthy ones and unhealthy ones. So, Mike, I got a question because I've known Adam a long time. I've known him longer than you. I've grown really close. There are things you didn't know that you learned in his series.
Yeah.
With the short time that you've noticed him or been around him, what are some small things that you've noticed along the way that you can tell from him? I kind of want to ask this question because it's easy, if I know somebody really well, it's easy for me to see signs and symptoms. But, when you don't have that long-term 5-6 year established friendship, how do you recognize those things in him? Like what, just from the short time that you've known him?
One thing that stands out with Adam is he's that guy who, my experience, the only time he's willing to buy everything for everybody seems like he's been struggling. And maybe you just like to throw your money away. I don't know. If so, let's hang out more.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, like it'll be fine. We'll hang out, and he might buy people a drink or whatever, which we all kind of share buying drinks.
Yeah.
But then we'll get together. There was one particular time we got together, and Adam was like, "Oh, here, Mike, I got you this. Oh, here, yeah, you can have it. I just bought it the other day. Oh, here, I'll buy your lunch. Or here," and it's just over and over. And then a couple of days later, I found out from Ryan that you were really struggling with something. I didn't know at the time because I was still getting to know you, but that's one thing that really sticks out to me looking back is that you're one of those people that as you start to spiral and struggle, you start to, I don't know if you do it consciously because you're getting ready to end things, or if it's a subconscious like, hey, I'm just struggling, so I'm going to blow through all my money. But that's what I'd say I noticed the most.
All right. Adam, same question for you about Mike.
About yourself.
No.
about myself.
No, about Mike.
The biggest thing for me that stands out with Mike is when he's struggling, no one's heard from him. Ryan hasn't heard from him for weeks. And it kind of like, he's like, Ryan will joke, be like, that bitch ghosted me. And we'll laugh and be like, no, I was like, that's not Mike. And he's like, because usually like Ryan will be like, oh, Mike's doing this, or, it's an update. And I noticed that when Mike's struggling, like, you don't hear from him. Ryan doesn't hear from him. Nobody, you kind of shut down. And that's a very easy thing for any man to do, is when you've at your wit's end, or you're like, dude, I don't know what the hell to do. I'm working, I'm getting 50 hours a work week, and I still can't survive. And you shut down.
Or 70-hour work weeks like last week, and still struggle.
Freaking
Yeah.
Terminator over here.
No, it is, and I try to reach out. If I haven't heard from one of these guys in a day or 2-3 days, we're all busy. But about that fourth day, if I don't get some kind of meme or text or just hey man, what's up or something, then I know somebody's struggling. Like we have a group chat, and if somebody's quiet in there, it's two of us or hey man, what's going on? Because it's not normal for both of us to be talking and one person not join in at some point in time.
And our common factor is humor. Like we'll find the most messed up memes, or I'll make jokes about myself, and that will get the ball rolling because I do laugh at myself.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've learned to cope with is my mistakes. I now laugh about them because they were stupid. I wasn't in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Does anyone else I know do that?
No,
Make
never.
jokes about themselves.
No, I never crack jokes about myself ever.
I just make jokes that you're too expensive.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
it's fun.
It's fun.
Because humor, like we find like humor in it because we're looking back going, dude, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
And you find humor in it going, like, I have no idea.
Yeah. No, and Adam, you're spot on with mine. And it's not even just a little, or with you guys. It's everybody. When I shut down, I stop talking to my wife. I stop talking to friends, my parents. I'll shut people out at work. It's pretty obvious for me. So
As you guys start seeing signs and symptoms and looking at, yourself and other people, it's going to become easier. When I first started my journey on this, and like Mike said, I was in therapy. I was doing journals. I was, doing all these things and trying to fix who I was because I knew if I didn't, that I wasn't going to be here for my kids and my friends and my family. And it took a while to start seeing my own signs. I think it took me longer to recognize the signs within myself as compared to being able to recognize them in other people. I think that was because in my mind, I didn't struggle. I still had that mentality that I'm fine. I'll make it through this. I'm a man. I don't have a choice. So if you see signs in other people, or as you're starting to do this, you're going to see things in yourself. Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep pushing forward. Keep reaching out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be big and glamorous. Just a simple, hey man, what you up to? Hey, how's your night? Real easy, just hey, what's going on in your life? You don't need to try and get them to open up right away. Just let them know that someone cares, and that seriously, as simple as a hey, how you doing, or hey, how was your night, can open up to people.
Yeah.
we're starting with a high five.
Yeah, or just give them a knuckle.
Or a wink. Depends on who the person is.
But no, high fives, there's scientific evidence behind high fives and how it helps you feel a sense of team. I don't know,
Teamwork? Team building?
teamship.
Teamwork.
Togetherness with people that literally there's
It is.
with people that you high five, and so even doing something like that to somebody that you're like, man, I think that guy's struggling. I'm gonna start watching out for him. I'm just gonna be like, dude, high five, nice work today. Eventually, that's gonna cause a reaction. What it does is it releases a chemical reaction in your brain, and it releases dopamines, and it increases your sense of self-worth and self-respect, and eventually that person's going to come to recognize that about you, that you bring out the best in them, and they'll come to you.
Yeah.
So it may be as simple as starting with a high five.
Yeah. Awesome. Does anybody have anything else
I
you want to talk about?
reiterate, just it took me and Ryan 3 weeks of working side by side to finally talk. And we've known each other now 11 years. Like,
If I've been stuck with you that long,
It's been a while.
I'm not gonna tell the YouTube audience what I think about you right now. You're a dick.
I will.
There.
I will say that it can take a long time depending on the person. Because Ryan's right. I've recognized the signs in Ryan a lot earlier than I recognized them in myself. I've known Ryan for almost 30 years now. And for about the last 20 of those, I've been able to see those signs and try and reach out when I've been around and available and close by. My problem is I just don't open up. And so Ryan has to pry it out of me with hot coals.
Actually, no, man, it's just a rain. Just say, hey, man, I got an energy drink. Let's
Oh,
talk.
you're right. That
That's
or we
true.
go get steak and shrimp.
Yeah, steak
That
and shrimp.
works
Yep,
too,
steak and
actually.
shrimp. All you can eat is scissors. It always brings out the demons.
It does.
But, no.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we thank you guys for watching our videos and taking time out of your day. Look for the next video. We're going to start posting every Thursday on YouTube. We'll have a new
Check
episode
out
out covering
swag.
stuff. As you can see, we got some swag behind us. Both available on our website. Follow the swag link.
We got more than just those two shirts.
Yep.
These guys got their shirts on, hats. We got hats, we got gym bags, shorts, all kinds of stuff.
Drawstring bags, we got towels. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Take a look, check it out. Share this video with your friends. You guys all have a good night.
Peace.